Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, December 28th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of charts and how they can be used to make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, I do want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you're wanting to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can click on. Or if you're watching at my site, then there's a link somewhere right on the webpage that you can click on. So just keep that in mind. And if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Couple quick things before I get into it, just for clarification point. First off, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So if you're new to charts, what I mean by that is each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then next, the market is still open for a little bit of time. So that candlestick here will still be moving. And I just like to do these videos when the chart is still moving, because sometimes we can capture some really interesting action as things play out. So you're not crazy to think, I don't know, is that chart still moving? Yes, it is still moving, but the market is close enough to being over for the day where the levels I talk about will still be relevant moving forward. So with that, let's get into it here. So first one here, ticker symbol MBOT. Very nice move today. Looking down here, you can see well above average volume on the day. Got the big gap up. Price did pull back here, but what makes this interesting setup is after the pullback, the price essentially just went sideways for the rest of the day, which now makes it a more than valid question to throw out there of, okay, maybe the pullback is over. Maybe this is just some bottoming out phase before another surge of momentum hits it and it makes another move to the upside. Now, is that guaranteed to happen? Of course not. No such thing as a guarantee, but is at least a plausible, logical thought process to have? Absolutely. So the level here that in my mind sticks out, and I think a lot of other traders will be watching, is this general area right here around that $9 mark. So $9, again, not a guarantee of anything, but plausible to think that if the price can recover back up to 9 and then get the break up through it, that break in and of itself could create quite a nice upside buying pressure and create another potential surge of momentum. If for those of you that like to play pullbacks, the main area of support that stands out the most down here right at $7.85. Looking, you can see the price got down there a few times, and each time the buyers did step in a nice way. So if you do like to play more so pullbacks, then that's an interesting level. But I think the main dynamic and the level here that most people are going to be watching is all about, can this thing get another breakout to the upside? So keep a close eye on that $9 mark. Next one here, AMC. And AMC is actually very, very interesting now moving forward after today, because today has basically formed two levels here that a lot of people are going to be watching. First level here as support right down there at 27. Again, you look at the opening 30 minutes right there, price bounced right off 27, and then you correspond that back to there, and you can see that generally speaking, 27 did a great job of holding that support. So I assure you, a lot of people have noticed that. A lot of people have drawn that line, just as the same as a lot of people have now noticed all about that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, which I've talked about in last week's videos, but carrying it into today and this new week here, a bunch of people certainly going to be watching it, because you can see now already had a couple of rejections, but you factor in today, both there, and you know that there's going to be a ton of people watching that level. And I'm emphasizing a lot of people watching both these areas, because when lots of people are watching the same levels, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can certainly produce a whole lot of dynamic price movements. So while nothing is guaranteed, if the price can eventually get a break up through that purple line there, it's plausible to think that that could create another nice surge to the upside of buying pressure. The flip side is also true. If the price does actually drop down to this $27 mark and then breaks down through it, it's plausible to think that that could cause more shorts to potentially pour in, or maybe some long-sided traders to just kind of give up and have their stop losses down there. Again, not guaranteed, but just this is now becoming a very, very well-defined chart. Even who knows, maybe it'll just all week chop between these two levels and become some sort of long drawn out sideways channel. That's always possible too. But at the core here, these are going to be two levels that a lot of traders have taken notice of and will be watching moving forward. Next one here, ticker symbol AVCT, and for this, want to go ahead and get this line drawn off here, because this is a level here that's becoming more and more kind of in your face in terms of people noticing it. And it's not an exact specific level, but definitely more so just illustrating the fact that there's a general area here that's been a problem. So right here, going back to last week, you can see never hit it exactly, but generally speaking, got up around that area, momentum disappeared. Same thing from this morning. Actually got up above that red line, but then momentum disappeared. And then once again, late day, price got up to that level and momentum disappeared. So I'm not saying that it's impossible to get through this 263-ish area, but as the chart is now showing us, for whatever reason, as kind of random as it is, 263 the momentum just, it's kind of like a momentum, magnet. It just gets the momentum and then just sucks all the momentum right out of any sort of movement. So if the price does return back up there, 263 definitely going to be that main breakout point. But from the overarching standpoint, nothing wrong at all has occurred. I mean, the price has gotten up above that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, and has done a great job of staying above it, including a nice bounce off of it from last week. Price came down there and then got the gap up today. So point here is that from an overarching standpoint, yeah, maybe it's a disappointing, maybe it's annoying and frustrating that the price can't quite seem to get any sort of separation of 263. However, as long as the price does stay above that moving average there, then from the overarching standpoint, the trend is still plenty bullish. But yeah, definitely all eyes, I think, going to be, continuing to watch that 263 area. Next one, CEI. And what I like about this, going back to the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, I assure you a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there. It's very well defined. It's quite straightforward to see, assuming you have even just a basic understanding of, technical analysis and trend lines. So going back, like I said, to that self-fulfilling prophecy angle, is anything guaranteed? No. But if the price were to work its way back to that area and get the breakup through it, you got to believe that there's a bunch of breakout players that are watching and wondering and saying, okay, well, if the price breaks that trend line, it's breaking out. I'm a breakout player, therefore I'm going to buy. So watch that trend line. That's definitely going to be a very important level of resistance going into the next few days. As far as areas of support are concerned, a couple areas stand out. First level right there, the bottom part of that pullback from this morning, which eventually bottomed out right there at the 97-cent mark. And then if 97 can't quite hold, then this is what I would definitely call the must-hold area. That purple line, which you now know is the 50-period moving average valued at 91 cents. But the good news is 91 cents isn't anywhere close to being, touched. But like I said, preferably speaking, definitely would want to see the price stay above 97. But if the price does break below it, then, definitely the must-hold level at the 91-cent mark. And again, if this thing decides to turn itself around, keep a close eye on that resistance trend line. Next one, LCID, and doing this one just for the very straightforward reasoning of very impressive bounce. I mean, when you stop and think about and look at the opening 30 minutes there, gap down, and this thing was just falling all the way down there. And then just like that, it was, almost like the bull said to the bears, hey, just kidding, and then has really turned itself around and made a very nice bounce on the day. So that leads, a valid question of, okay, is this bounce the start of something bigger? Now think about that question. In order to ask that question, something first needs to happen. You can't ask the question of, is this the start of something bigger? Start of what, right? But in this situation, the something is that big old bounce that happened. So maybe it's not. Maybe this thing just drops and rolls right back over. That's always possible too. But like I said, the interesting dynamic here is you're at least able to ask that question of whether or not this is the start of something bigger. So from the resistance standpoint, keep a close eye on that purple line there, the 200-period moving average, right now valued at the $40 mark. That'll be a main battleground to watch moving forward. And then as far as supports are concerned, the level that I would definitely, say you'd want to see the price stay up above at minimum is right down there around 36.75. Because even if the price were to come down here to 36.75, I mean, think about what that would still be giving you if it started to go sideways. It'd still give you a set of lows there. You look at that low right there. If you envision each of those as stair steps, you'd still have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. But as of right now, yeah, big bounce, very impressive bounce. So is this the start of something bigger? We'll see what happens. Next one, PYR. And I like this just because of the pattern that's formed. And part of this pattern is a very, very, very well-defined resistance, which you now know I'm going to talk about. Self-fulfilling prophecy angles. So right there around 485, a bunch of people are going to be watching that level. So keep an eye on that. And if the price does break through it, then yeah, that could definitely produce that much more upside buying pressure. As far as the pattern as a whole, and the pattern doesn't really matter. Like I said, if all you want to focus on is that level right there, then that's totally fine. So it's not like you need to overcomplicate things. But from a pattern perspective, again, you have that resistance there. You have, the general support right there, and this is just a very crude drawing, but you have the momentum move right there. So this would be, a bull flag pattern. So from the pattern standpoint, that would be something to keep an eye on. But like I said, if you just went, wait, why is it this pattern? Why is it? If that's overcomplicated, you just watch that level right there because it's become very clear that has become a problem point. But if that problem point can be cleared up through, then yeah, this thing has shown that it can move and it can move very quickly. So let's see how it goes over the next couple of days. Next one, NKLA did this analysis last week, and that's where the pattern here, the red line and green line, is coming from. And overall, a tricky chart to talk about because it just depends on, what your game plan going in was. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well then yeah, from that angle, the chart looks really bad because there was this big pullback here. So from that angle of things are not looking very good at all. Now, if you care about things from the big picture point of view, again, I totally understand there was the big pullback here, but from the grand scheme of it all, what do you still have even, if the price were to drop down a bit further, and let's just say go down to that level right there at $10.40. So again, not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down there, I mean, what would you still have? Emphasis on big picture. Well, you'd still have a set of lows there. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows down there. And if you envision those as stair steps, well, what do you have? Well, you still have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. Again, I understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. But that's why I'm trying to make the distinction that from a day trading standpoint, is going to be much different than somebody that cares about the overall standpoint. So yeah, a rough day today with the gap up and then the pullback here. However, if you do still care about big picture, then the price does still, as you saw right there, have the opportunity to build away and, build that higher base. Next one, ticker symbol SPRB, and I like this just for the pattern's sake here. So let's get this pattern drawn up. Have the resistance line right there. You have a well-defined area of support right there. In fact, let me change that to green to represent support. And then just to maybe make this easier to see, let's keep it all one color. So we have resistance, we have support, we have the momentum move right there. We'll put the golf hole down there for those of you that are more visual. And this is what we call it, a bull pennant pattern. So if you like this price range of, down below $10, if you like to play bull pennant patterns, then this is definitely a setup to keep an eye on, especially from the volume analysis standpoint. During this pullback here of volume, especially recently, look how that volume has really dropped off. And as any volume analysis will tell you, during consolidations, during pullbacks, you want to see low volume, and that is exactly what's happened here. So as I'll say and probably say a couple more times, does all of this mean that for sure guaranteed this thing is going to recover and break to the upside? Of course not. But is it at least an attractive? Is it at least a pattern with some volume analysis that should be on your watch list? Absolutely. Next one here, FTFT, and just the monster move here. Volume, basically came out of nowhere. Price behaved very nicely with it. And really the only people that are disappointed with this one right now are people that maybe chased the price. Not maybe, they did chase the price and bought up there because, yeah, there's been a big pullback from that area. But everybody else, things are looking great. And even if you're not in it, and if you like to play pullbacks or breakouts, there's plenty of setups from that angle. So if you do like to play breakouts, key level here that is standing out now is going to be a main breakout area right there at, let's call it the $1.65 mark. So that would be a breakout level for those people that maybe like to play pullbacks. Then a pullback area here that stands out, and it seems to be pretty interesting right down there around the $1.40 mark. And in all actuality, and this is definitely, maybe I'm forcing a square peg through a round hole and drawing this, but maybe not. But point here being, if you were to have that resistance there, support there, momentum move right there, have yourselves another bull flag pattern. But once again, if you disagree or like why you can put the name of the patterns aside, because what matters the most is going to be the breakout points and then these pullback points. So keep an eye on those couple areas. But overall, especially if you like to play this price range, then a lot of volume on this one today. Very impressive price movement. Not just a question of is this a healthy consolidation before the move back upwards? We'll see what happens and why it's at least worth keeping somewhere on your watch list. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and the grind continues. So just a couple of quick updates need to be done. Go ahead and get rid of that. And then the big update that needs to be done is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So going into the day, right around that 1070 mark was an area of resistance, but you can see the price just blasted through it this morning. So if there is any sort of pullbacks, that would be the ideal level of support. Ideal meaning, what make the chart look the best moving forward. Certainly if the price can stay above that level, but if it doesn't, not the end of the world, because the price still has plenty of separations, up above that, 50 period moving average, which has a nice upward slope to it. So from more of a bigger picture, overarching standpoint, as long as the price stays above that purple line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, then overall, especially if you just want to picture that as a trend line that's going to draw itself for you, as long as the price stays above that upsloping trend line, then that does imply that the overall trend is still plenty bullish. As far as levels of resistance are concerned, nothing fancy here. You can see that if you're watching it, that the price continued to get up right around that 1115-ish mark, and it just can never quite build any further momentum. So keep an eye on 1115 mark moving forward. But yeah, all in all, higher highs and higher lows, and the chart continues to look nice and strong. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, and just why it's so powerful and helpful as a tool, then definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So definitely get signed up for it. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make videos like this, then please communicate that to me by doing two easy things. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment. Let me know what you traded today. Let me know what you're watching tomorrow. Say hi. But those two things, a simple comment and hitting that like button, communicate to me that you enjoy the videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying these, then I will continue to put in the time and effort to make them. And again, if you want to learn more about the tool of technical analysis and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, definitely get signed up for the free class. Everybody take care. Have a good one.